Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here today. We are very excited. We are bringing you another webinar from this very special program, which is Generation UK in partnership with the British Council, CRCC Asia, and Virtual Internships. So most of you are doing an internship, a virtual internship in China, in a whose company located in China, or have already finished your internship. And so we wanted to bring you a really interesting topic that we thought it could be very useful to know. And this is the rise of Chinese internet industry in 2 decades. And this is from personal experience, from a personal perspective, from our great speaker who's Chinese, who knows a lot about the subject, and he will share all this with that. My name is Mirta Aguirre. I'm the head of employability of virtual internships, and I'm very happy to have you here today. Remember, we are recording this session, so you can watch it later on, share it with anyone who may be interested in this webinar, and you can definitely ask questions. Please ask questions. We have the chat, and we also have the Q&A section. If you want to make any comments during the presentation that is not directly a question, you can use the chat. And if you have a specific question for our speaker, please use the Q&A section so we can then ask it later on. So let's meet our speaker, okay? So our speaker today is Rick Jin. Rick holds a Master of Computer Science from Peking University and a PhD in Artificial Intelligence from the University of Tokyo. After obtaining his PhD, he joined Tencent, where he worked for 10 years as an artificial intelligence engineer and an R&D director and in Tencent social apps department. Rick will tell us about Tencent. I believe this is one of the biggest, right, video games companies in China, if I'm not mistaken, like huge company, super relevant in the area. So this is going to be very interesting. And after he left the company in 2018, he founded his own company, AHA Education Technology. He's now dedicated to showcase the fun and beauty of math to kids by applying visualization, gamification, and artificial intelligence technology in traditional mathematics education. He is keen on writing articles related to popular mathematical culture. So thank you very much, Rick, for being here today. And so in this webinar, the idea is that Rick is going to tell us a little bit about internet in China, right? This is a super interesting topic. The past 2 decades have witnessed a tremendous development of the Chinese internet industry, and the Chinese digital giants gradually has appeared on the world stage. While he was a freshman in college, Rick went through the very early stages of the Chinese internet. And as an engineer in Tencent, he personally experienced the booming of the Chinese internet industry. So in this webinar, Rick will teach us about, well, the early appearance of the internet in China, the rise of Chinese internet giant, how the internet shapes Chinese society and daily life, and a little bit about globalization, what opportunities and challenges for Chinese internet companies there are. And so welcome very much, welcome, Rick. Just to give us a perspective, because sometimes we forget where we are. We were just talking with Rick. Rick, where are you exactly? Tell us where you are. That's you near Hong Kong, right?
Yeah. Just on the border of Hong Kong. Shenzhen is a city in the south of China. So it's only take 1 hour to arrive in Hong Kong.
And Shenzhen, okay. And what time is it for you, Rick, now?
Currently it's 9:15 p.m. Yeah.
Okay, 9:15. Excellent. Well, thank you for being here. You can share your screen, and then it's all yours, so you can start.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. So thank you very much for the invitation from Milta and virtual internship. So today I will give a talk about the Chinese internet industry and how it influenced China. So yeah, anyway, it's from a personal experience perspective. So my name is Rick Jing, anyway, Milta already gave the introduction, so I just skip the introduction. Anyway, my career is quite simple. I mean, I stay in Tencent for 10 years and do a lot of stuff related to artificial intelligence and big data. And then I left and created my own company. I'm a big math fan, so I like mathematics and engineering. So I try to do the math education for kids currently. Yeah, so I've told you I'm in Shenzhen in any city. Yeah, so just next to Hong Kong. Shenzhen actually is a quite special city in China. It's the number 4 city in China, and also there's another name. It's the Silicon Valley of China. Huge amount of digital device is produced, manufactured in Shenzhen. So that's quite famous. So it's also called the factory of the world. So this is the outline of today's talk. I will first I will introduce slightly about the Chinese internet and digital giant, how they rise. But the third part, I think, is the most interesting part. I mean, how the internet shaped Chinese society. Okay, and in this part, I'm going to discuss some quite sensitive topics, including like data privacy, like the government censorship. I guess many people will be interested in. And the last part will about the globalization of the current Chinese internet companies. So I will have a question for you all. I mean, when we talk about the internet, usually, what is your most important memory about internet? So I guess for many people, maybe in this generation, it's not easy to answer the question, because when you are born with the internet, when you're born, you already use the internet. Like this is my daughter. So there are many internet citizens currently. Some are born in digital age, like my daughter. She's only 4 years old currently. But for like me, I was born in 1979, so I'm already 43 years old now. I go through the very early stage of the internet. So I belong to the digital immigrants of the internet world, but I guess most of you belong to the digital natives. So that's quite different. And for many people, like my daughter, when they born, they use the pad and they play games and they play TikTok videos, and there's nothing special about internet for them. It's just like electronic, like water, and the daily services for them. So it's quite common. But for my generation, actually quite different. There's a special memory about the internet. So this is the very early stage of the Chinese internet. The left part is the timeline of the big giant of the United States. And the right part, you can see the timeline. We can see how the China was allowed to join the internet in 1994. So this is the very beginning time. And 2 years later, China led the backbone network is established in China. And about 1996, at the end of 1996, totally there are 100,000 internet users in China. And from that point, the internet industry just begin. So in the coming years, many Chinese startup companies show up. So these are the listed companies here. That is so for Tencent and Alibaba, Taobao, and Baidu. They all became the internet giants in China in several years. So this is the basic timeline compared to the timeline of the United States.
Rick, just one question to understand. So
Yeah.
Facebook, Google, were these available in China or they weren't? And then all these Chinese companies appeared, let's say, like the equivalent of Facebook and...
Yeah, there are many equivalents. And
Yeah.
I mean, Google and the search engine is Baidu is the equivalent.
Yeah,
Facebook,
but you couldn't use Google or Facebook
yeah.
in China.
Yeah, Amazon is okay to access in China. Yahoo is okay, but Google and Facebook currently is forbidden. So
Okay, so
at the third part, I'm going to discuss many details about your question.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah. So this is the very beginning of the internet. When I go to the university, I go to university in 1998. So actually, the quite interesting thing is that I applied to the computer science department of the in my university, but I almost never touch computer when I go to the university, enter the university. So my teachers in high school, he recommended me that he said computer science is going to be the future. So and you can apply to this subject. So I accept her suggestions. And actually, when I go to the university, there's no internet in that campus, but there's no code network. So because many students major in computer science and how to build the network, so everything is established from 0 to 1, and we built we did it all by myself, do it. So we buy the cables, we buy the connectors, use tools to build the dormitory, the network in dormitory. So in each dormitory we build our own, and then we try to collect the dormitory, the network of the dormitory, one by one, and also the building by building. So it means that when I was a fresh student, I participated deeply in the construction of the local campus network. Yeah, of course, we hope that engineering should be perfect, but the reality actually is that like this. Yeah, the line is quite a mess. Yeah, randomly collected together, and yeah, it's when there's problems, can be terrible to look at, to divide, to find the diagnostic. So, but anyway, in 2 years later, the ministry, the education ministry, make a quite important decision that for all university they will try to rebuild the local campus the campus network, and then they try to connect the campus network to the internet. So it means 2 years later, all the campus in the campus network in the university, they connected to the internet, and there's a very important software at that time. It's called ICQ. It's produced, it's developed by Israeli, and in that local network, we try to set up servers for many students. So the students in the campus, they can chat with each other online. So it means that for this generation, it's very fresh experience to chat online with strangers. So many students they are fascinated about it. And so as I said, after the campus network connected to the internet, there's one company show up. It's the Tencent. Tencent begin to build software quite similar to ICQ. ICQ is just a chatting network, but it's not so quite friendly for Chinese to use it because it cannot input Chinese characters. So that company, the Tencent, the first software is that try to build the QQ and to support online chatting. So a huge amount of students they download this software and they try to try to chat online with the friends and with the strangers. It's quite exciting for them. So this is the answer to at least my generation. It means that the most important memory about internet is online QQ chatting. So it's quite interesting that Chinese people, they are crazy about online chatting. Online chatting is the most famous internet software in China. Actually, Microsoft, they built MSN, a messenger, but they failed to do the monetization in the world. So they give up that product finally. But in China, the chatting software is always on the top. So many people try to analyze the Chinese culture and the Chinese characters, the personalities, why they are so crazy about the QQ. They don't use email and they don't like to use email when they work, but they like online chatting a lot. So there are many chatting situations and many products surrounded the chatting scenario, and then which support the biggest internet company, Tencent in China. So this is the quite interesting part about Chinese culture. Okay, the second part is that how continually the rise of the Chinese internet giant. There's three giants at the very beginning. We call it BAT. Baidu, the first one is the equivalent of the Google search engine. Alibaba is the equivalent of Amazon, so it's about online shopping, e-commerce. And Tencent is a social network, so it's online chatting. So these three companies begin to grow rapidly since the beginning of the 2000 centuries. So I will talk about a little more about Tencent since I stayed there for 10 years. Actually, I joined Tencent in 2008. When I joined Tencent, the company is established for about 9 years. And the user, you can see at the very beginning is about 100,000 users. And at the 2008, the total user is 40 million users. So the CEO of the Tencent, we call him Polly. Polly said that he predict that it is impossible for him to see the simultaneous online user will surpass about 100 million. Okay, he said that in about 2008, but the 2008, the simultaneous online user, online chatting user is 40 million. But after he said that, actually, just in 2 years. So in 2010, March, the simultaneous online user, the number of simultaneous online users surpassed 100 million. So that's quite surprised. I mean, even the creator of the QQ, he is pessimistic about the growth of the internet. However, it means the growth rapid actually out of the expectation of everyone. So that's the quite amazing speed. Anyway, if you go to Tencent, there's a war. In that war, there is a flickering screen, and it will there's a map, a Chinese map, and every point will try to flickering. When the flickering means that there is an online user chatting, and they send a message. So this is a heat map, or visualization of the online users. Actually, this map is about 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, actually, the simultaneous online users for QQ is 200 million. So currently is still increased a lot. And so, I mean, online chatting actually produce a quite internet empire in China. So Tencent they have huge amount of users and try to produce different kind of things. So they go into entertainment, they produce games, they produce information share. So they have the news portal, and also they produce payment tools and different kinds of tools like browser, app store, security, and map. So they almost produce anything. So there's a word to describe Tencent at that time in China. It means that it's the enemy of everyone, because when Tencent see that there's a startup, he tried to produce something quite interesting, he will follow, and he tried to copy. So Tencent at that time was criticized by the internet industry a lot, especially by the startup founders. That's the state. And several other internet companies grow up, including BAT, as I mentioned before. So when I joined Tencent in 2008, the situation is that most people will choose to go to Microsoft, Amazon, Google, IBM. At that time, the service of these companies actually is acceptable in China. So it means it didn't get banned. And so most people, most young technology engineers, they will choose to go to these big companies. But several years later, actually the situation totally changed. The change is because the BAT companies grow up quite quickly, increase a lot, and the offer they provide surpass the Western equivalent. So it means that Baidu, Tencent, Alibaba in China, actually they earn a lot of money, and they can pay they provide quite high salary for the experts in China in several years. So several years later, and the whole company, the whole internet, they produced many different startup companies. So in e-commerce, we have many companies. In Q&A, like Quora, we have companies in knowledge share, we have news portal. So we call it internetization. It means in China, if there's a business, it's a traditional business, but some people try to connect it to the traditional business to the internet, and try to improve the efficiency of the traditional business. Then there is a huge opportunities, because the Chinese market is huge. There's so many internet users. So if you can be the number one in one business, you will attract a lot of investment. And so that's quite a successful story. So this is the internet map in 2021. So many big companies and internet giants. Anyway, the BAT3 giant is the old way to say it. Currently, actually, we have we still have another other things that we have 6 internet super giants. Okay, but I will try to talk a little bit about more about 2 super apps. One super app is WeChat. Yeah, I guess many people have, many students have already heard of WeChat.
Yes, Rick, and this is super interesting, because we've had previous webinars about China, and we know from our interns in China that apparently everyone in China use WeChat, right? And everything happens in WeChat. I don't know if we have anyone here confirming that, but I've heard a lot about WeChat. Yeah,
almost. So its main means WeChat actually is a QQ equivalent, but it's also produced by Tencent. When in Tencent, they about like 10 years ago, they tried to establish a team, and they tried to develop the chatting software for voice, so voice chatting. And Tencent, so it means WeChat actually is a competitor of the QQ. So in Tencent, there is a kind of culture that will support different teams to build different software. Even the same software, they put several teams. So this is quite similar to Amazon. They can compete together. Sometimes one will beat another. In game design, this is extremely true for game design inside Tencent. For online chatting design, it's also true. So WeChat actually like grow up inside the Tencent, and they grow bigger and bigger, and at last it defeat QQ lastly. So currently the online users of WeChat already is bigger than QQ, but still QQ is quite large. So in Tencent, currently we have two. One is WeChat, another is QQ, and there's kind of the different groups use different kind of software. For example, for WeChat, most the elder, like the people like me, okay, we use it. And for QQ, actually, many students use it. It means that the students in middle school, in high school, they refuse to use WeChat. It means that they don't want to see their parents, or just like Snapchat and Facebook. And in the young generation, they will choose to show in different places. So we use WeChat. Originally, we use QQ. Originally, we use QQ a lot, but WeChat slightly, most people think it's a better software, and they have many functionality that QQ didn't provide. So many people shift from QQ to WeChat. But the young generation, because they are young and they want to specific and special, so they still choose QQ. This is quite interesting social phenomenon. Another software is that TikTok. So I want to discuss this to introduce a little. There's another company called ByteDance. Actually, in the year about 2010, the BOT is already quite huge. The three giant internet giant in China. So many people think that there's no opportunity for the new startup to become big company anymore. But still, that is not true. Another company called ByteDance, really, they surpass every company in China at last. So they create several very successful software in China. One is Toutiao, is a news recommendation. Okay, and it's used artificial intelligence and big data a lot. I think it's the best company. ByteDance, the best company that quite similar to Amazon and also Google. Tencent culture is kind of similar to Facebook, because it's a social network. But TikTok, the ByteDance, the mother company, actually the culture is quite similar to Google. It means it believes in technology a lot and use artificial intelligence a lot in his product. So it always tries to automate the process and to improve the efficiency. So and it finally, it became quite successful. Anyway, I think it is the DNA of that company, of that the founder, of the CEO of the ByteDance. So TikTok in China, we call it Douyin, became a very successful short videos apps in China, and many people spend a lot of time on it. So at the very beginning, quite interesting. At the very beginning, TikTok is for entertainment. Okay, it's for entertainment, and only the young generation, young men will use it. So I don't use it at the very beginning because most of the videos, short videos, is funny videos, joke videos, and the young generation will like it. But slightly, the TikTok changed a lot It means they produce many high quality videos and they share different things, including the beautiful things and beautiful females and professional knowledge. And there are many popular science bloggers. They will try to produce huge number of videos, short videos to teach people popular science. So it means it gradually became a knowledge share platform. And at last, it becomes an e-commerce platform. Many people try to sell products, use the short videos. So, and the efficiency is very successful. It's very high. It's better than the traditional way in WeChat. So when I was in Tencent and the TikTok, they are competitors. They want to gain huge market about the advertisement. Okay, so but after when I was in Tencent I left Tencent in 2018. At that time, TikTok and Tencent they are just they almost equal market share. But just in two years later, TikTok surpassed Tencent, surpassed WeChat a lot. So this is amazing things in China. And also TikTok, I think, is the first Chinese software that's most successful in globalization. Even WeChat, when tried to do the globalization in China, when Tencent went to do the globalization, actually it's not successful, but TikTok became quite successful. So this is quite amazing things happen in China. It means several years ago, when the BAT, the three giant age, mostly the Chinese internet actually follow the steps of United States. But since the WeChat and the TikTok is created, actually the situation changed. Many Chinese participate in innovation. So we have many products and we try to be innovative. So there's many, the investment environment is very good. There are huge amount of VC, they want to put money to support the many startup companies. So the good ideas, they come out continually. So that totally change the whole environment of the Chinese internet. So this is the second part. Okay. Okay, I think I come to the third part. The third part should be maybe the most interesting part, is how the internet shaped Chinese society and daily life. Chinese is influenced by, I think everybody in this age is influenced by the internet a lot. So I just show some interesting parts, how something is maybe specific to Chinese. So the first thing is that the 996. I'm not sure whether you have heard this word before. This word is coined by the startup companies, especially in internet industry, which means you work since 9 a.m. and finish the work at 9 p.m. and you need to work 6 days a week. So the 996.
We heard this in previous webinars where we talked about work culture in China. So we had some questions. Is this 996? Yeah, we heard it in previous.
Okay, anyway, good. Yeah, so you know it. Yeah, it's quite challenging. Yeah, so it means that work balance between work balance in internet industry actually is not good. But anyway, the good thing, the thing is that the salary in internet industry is quite high compared to other industry. So still many people will try to come into the internet industry. For example, in Tencent game department is called IEG, and this division, sorry, not a department, is quite a big unit and produce about more than 50% of the revenues of the Tencent. Tencent actually, if the game, if it's alone company is the world's biggest game company. Okay, in Tencent games, actually people work quite late, and there's many teams that do the same thing, and they just compete. Okay, so this is death and the survival, and so the people are need to work very hard, and so their work style is not 996, even worse. Okay, they will separate the working hours in 3 stages. Even the quite late stage, like the 12 p.m. to the early morning, still there are many engineers they work later. So that culture, and yeah, and many people criticize that culture, but still there are many people support it. So this is quite controversial topic in China. For young people, many people will support that. I like 996 because I can make more money. But for the people already married, yeah, they want a better life-work balance. So still, this is quite controversial topic, and the government just allow the internet company to do this kind of thing. So we don't like UK or French. You have the law to forbid people work too overwork. Yeah, so it's forbidden to work too long. But in China now, country there's a balance between the money and the work hour. Okay, so this is the second thing is about chatting. Chatting, I think, and I've already said before that chatting is amazing thing for Chinese. So the chatting software, online chatting software, is the biggest software, and also produce the biggest business in China. And in WeChat, the Chinese people really fascinated about group online chatting. So they are I have hundreds of groups online chatting in my WeChat. So different kinds of. So for example, this is a family group. So I will discuss with my family members. This is a group for my friends in my village. Okay, I come from a small village in China. So I have several friends grow up together. And this is a group. Okay, sorry. And this is group for my lab in Peking University. And this is group for ex-Tencent. So when I left the Tencent, there's a group for us. And this is my current group for my current company. And this is the group for interest, for artificial intelligence. Also, this is artificial intelligence. And okay, there's something special here. And this is a group for the class of my daughter, my big daughter. I have an elder daughter, is in grade 7 in country. So the teacher will in a group, and then we'll discuss a lot with the parents, and then they will give homework inside this group. And also there is another equivalent group, except that there's no teacher in this group. All the parents in this classroom. So they will discuss many problems about the management of the classroom, but they don't want to let the teacher know. So this is quite interesting. Anyways, this is something related to the education culture inside China. So there are many groups online chattings, and Chinese people solved many problems on online chatting, but rather than use emails. I think this is. I'm not sure whether the Westerners they use Facebook, WhatsApp like this way. So and we use it very heavily.
We do have this. I'm from Argentina, and we also use WhatsApp a lot. And I understand that in some other countries this is not so usual. We use voice messages, well, rather like this, right? Voice messages a lot over WhatsApp. We do also have a WhatsApp group for the school and the parents. A similar thing, we are quite also, we use it a lot, but we use WhatsApp.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The second thing is about the AI beautifier. And Chinese female is crazy about the AI beautifier. So they always try to take pictures and then use the AI beautifier to make it beautiful, and then they share on WeChat. Yeah, it seems that in Western culture, sometimes the ladies will think that it's better to keep it natural. So they want to show the pictures in original way. But in China, it's rarely happen. Most ladies they want to beautify the pictures and then they share it. So this is so that it means that this kind of software is very popular in China. And they produce the different kind of the beautify functions inside the app. I don't use it. I think many Chinese guys don't use it, but females are crazy about it. And yeah, the cashless age in China, I think I haven't used cash for years so far. In China, we use WeChat and also Alibaba to pay, to do the payment. So the WeChat, the barcode is everywhere. So you can use the WeChat to pay almost everything. Like, okay, you try to in a street market, you try to buy some vegetables. You just scan the barcode and you pay. You go take a taxi, they will give you a barcode. Okay. Also, there's a bike. There are many shared bikes in the street. Okay. When you want to use a bike, you just scan the barcode at the back. You pay. The bike. There's a sensor connected to the internet, and then after you pay it, the rock is free. You can use the bike. So it means that 7 years ago, it's already in Chinese society, we don't use the cash anymore. Okay, this is also, but we also don't use credit card like not so many. Credit card is not so welcome in China. Sometimes we use credit card, but mostly we use the WeChat. So the credit card usually means that because the WeChat can be connected to credit card. So when we use WeChat, we also, it's not necessary to use the physical Visa credit card. So it's quite different. I think in United States still the credit card is quite common, but in China we don't use it in daily life. And another thing, special thing is about the shared bikes. Many shared bikes in Chinese in cities. You can find many around the street and around the station. But if you suppose that the shared bikes can be managed well, no, the situation is that many people will park the bikes quite randomly, and it can be a disaster. So sometimes it will result in many social problems like the jam, the traffic jam. It's because of the people didn't park their bikes in a right order. Okay, so this kind of problem actually arises. So currently, the government require that the bike company, they should manage the bikes properly. But the shared bikes is quite good. It's quite popular in China because when you take a taxi, you go to a place. If there's still several hundred meters to go, you take a bike, and it's quite convenient for us. So it's quite popular here. Food is in China. The food delivery efficiency is quite high. It's crazy, I think. So you can order the food online in an app. the delivery man teams to deliver the food. So for many Chinese, they don't need to go out to eat. They just order the food in a restaurant. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, actually many restaurants now support the takeaways. So about delivery services, there's another delivery services is parcel delivery. So in China, the parcel delivery the efficiency is also extremely high compared to Amazon. I think when you make an order about in online in Amazon, even inside the United States, it will take several days. China usually will take 1 day. So many parcels will arrive in 24 hours. So the efficiency is quite high because there are several delivery companies. They compete each other. The most attractive point about this competition is the delivery efficiency. So the efficiency became crazy, and many people and many companies want to improve the delivery efficiency, but they also produce some problems because I mean in society. For example, the delivery they want to improve the need to manage the time very quickly, and it's very dangerous for them when they ride a car. So several delivery people have traffic, have accident because of this kind of policy, and this is also produce a new social problem in China. And yes, still there's other parcel delivery service, and there's a company that they just send many parcels into society. So it means that in society, you don't need to go out. You just they will put your parcels inside the counter, and you can try to get it. And also, if you want to deliver a parcel, you just lock it in, find a counter, you lock it, and then you just the delivery man will just do the following. So very convenient in China to do this kind of stuff. Also the housekeeping. If you're lazy, you don't want to do your cleaning, you can also order a house cleaning service in 24 hours. The lady will come to your house and help you clean your house. So we call it the internetization, the crazy internetization. I already explained that the market is huge. As long as you have a good idea to improve the traditional, to improve the efficiency of traditional business using the internet, then you can make a lot of money. Okay, then that kind attractive a lot of investment and the startups to produce many different services in China. And so we have, okay, I will share something about how the Chinese government control the pandemic of COVID-19. Okay, this is maybe a interesting topic for you to understand China. Anyway, the policy in China, we call it the dynamic zero policy in China. Yeah, why it's possible in China? How they can control, I think, is kind of China unique policy. We need to do the nucleic acid test a lot frequently. Actually, I have about 1 hour ago, I just finished a nucleic acid test. Okay, why the?
Hi, Rick. I'm really sorry. I don't know what happened. I totally disappeared. I don't know if you're still here. And what happened during my absence?
I can't hear you. You sleep. Hey, hi, can you see me now?
Yeah, I don't know how long I was gone. I'm really sorry. I think you continued, right?
Yeah, just continue. Okay.
Okay. I'm really sorry. Do you think we can wrap up because we're a little bit behind time? I'm really sorry.
Okay, so I continue.
Yeah, and if you can just maybe we can have 5 more minutes to finish and then we can, yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, so about the pandemic, yellow color, it means that you have a close contact with somebody who is positive. And red color is means it's already close contact anyway. Yeah, so it's quite dangerous. This means so people are classified into 3 categories. And if you are a yellow color, you will be isolated for 7 days. If you are red color, and then you will isolated for 14 days. So this is the policy to control the health, to do the test. The dynamic zero policy in China is why is it possible? Is because that the Chinese social structure is quite, I think, different with the Westerners. And Chinese has a complex, apartment complex structure in a city. So every city will divide it into blocks into several apartment complex. So in each apartment complex, actually there's a wall around it. So it means that if we find a positive sample, then the whole complex will be shut down. So it means that the unit to shut down is depends on whether you find some positive samples inside. So sometimes the whole city, sometimes the whole city will be shut down, and sometimes only a block will be shut down. Sometimes a building will be shut down for several days. Yeah. So this is the policy in China to do to control the pandemic. Actually, when there's a city, there's many positive samples, the whole city will be locked down. Like Wuhan, Shanghai. Actually, Shenzhen is also locked down for about 2 weeks, several months ago. And Shanghai, yeah, I think it's already a quite big international news that it's shut down, it's locked down for 3 months. Oh, quite amazing. Yeah. And the country, the government will try to organize many medical teams to support the city. So this is the kind of the things inside China. I will go through the most sensitive part about the internet censorship in China. Actually, there's a story. I think there's quite attractive stories about Google quit in 2010. And Google actually is acceptable.
Rick, sorry that I interrupt you.
Search engine is okay to use in China before 2010.
Rick, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So we have gone a little bit over a time, but we're gonna keep on because I think this is the most interesting part. So we're gonna keep on discussing, but for those who have to leave, we will just share with everyone the recording, and they can all find you on LinkedIn, Rick Jean. And so, yeah, just for those who have to leave, but we can discuss because I'm really interested in this part. So I just wanted to say that those who have to leave, thanks for having joined us. But please, we have 10 more minutes for us. So I really definitely want to listen to this part so we can continue.
Okay. I just will save time, but I think this part is quite interesting for you to know about China. And so this is a very sensitive event for China. I mean, Google's quit. when Google quit, the reason is that Google refused to accept the censorship rules proposed by the government policy. Actually, in China, there's a tradition that every should be monitored by the government, and we need to accept the principles, the rules of the censorship rules of the government. So the rules, I don't think that the rules have been written down clearly in documents, no, but they have potentially have some potential rules to govern. So, for example, in China, in big country, usually they will got a list of keywords. Several keywords will be quite sensitive. Okay, if they will require that if some articles, the topics will related to this kind of keywords. Okay, it's forbidden to show up to the users. So this kind of rules is a potential rules in Chinese internet industry, and I think every Chinese company accept that rules, and Google don't want to obey the rules. Microsoft, IBM, they stay in China because they obey the rules. And anyway, Google has a culture called the do no evil culture. So that anyway, this event is quite controversial in China. Many Chinese people debate and they criticize government, and they hope that Google will pay back. Yeah, anyway, Google is a great company, and so that's the event. Okay, I will introduce another event. I mean, there's in China we know as the GFW, Great Fire War, to stop the company outside the service outside the China. Like so, it's many companies service we cannot access, like Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Okay, so I cannot access. It means that I cannot access normally. Okay, actually, I can access many different services, like Google services, Facebook services, Twitter, but I need to use some software tools to like VPN, for example. So in theory, as long as you use the internet, it's impossible to block all information. So for many people, they use the tools they will try to access outside China. But for many users, I think it will be difficult for them to access. Yeah, that's the critical part. So how to understand this kind of the policy? Anyway, yeah, Chinese government is criticized seriously by this kind of policy. I think to understand this policy, I think it should be dated back to Mr. Deng Xiaoping. Deng Xiaoping has Mr. Deng Xiaoping is the president is quite has a quite high reputation in China. I read there's a book to describe his how he designed the Chinese political system. So I recommend this book a lot. It's written by Wazhou, an American expert. And also there's a talk in TED called "A Tale of Two Political Systems." Compare the Chinese political system to the Western system. Anyway, Chinese people like Mr. Deng Xiaoping a lot because I think the economic development is attributed to him a lot, and he designed a political system. But if you read his book, you will find that Mr. Deng Xiaoping don't trust in the Western style of the democracy and also the system. In his opinion, the system will result in a low efficiency. So at that time, when China goes through the Cultural Revolution, produce many social problems. So for him, I think the most important thing is to improve the Chinese economy. So when he designed the political system, he actually keep the democracy inside the Communist Party. but there's another rule is that he want to control the. So this is, I think, kind of the traditions of China. I mean, in China, there's a tradition called the collectivism compared to the individual in Western culture. So that's quite different. So this culture, we value the economic development, the life, we put it, the less interest in the first place, but the freedom of speech, the individual, I think in separate. Want to judge whether it's right or wrong. I mean, when I was young, I studied lots is translated. I'm attracted. It's attractive to me. But when I come to this age, 43 years old, I begin to understand in some way about the Chinese political system. I think they emphasize that the social stability is very important. So there's a balance between economic development, social stability, and also the individualism. So that balance, I think, from the value of the Western culture, you have another balance that in China as a different kind of balance. So this is my understanding why the Chinese government also always want to control the information. Okay, so I've already shared that actually when the government try to control the information spread, actually is quite sensitive, but it never means that we don't know the outside, what happens outside. So for example, there's United States and also BBC, the attitude. All of my friends, they think the government is impossible. That's for Chinese to kill Xinjiang people. And this is you can articles can find in Quora. They discuss this kind of problem. So this is the attitude of Chinese. That means that we don't think that the genocide happens in Xinjiang. So this is quite different stories from the point of view of the Chinese. Also about the Ukraine-Russian war. Okay, this is all they support Russian a lot, and they debate on the internet. Anyway, the attitude is quite different with the government. So anyway, the government allowing this kind of discussion happens. And there's another event, Tencent tech event. It's about of Chinese. I talk about this because this event, they use the internet a lot. The event is that several very strong Chinese men hit 4 little girls, and then there's a surveillance video and spread all over the world. And the video go to every corner of the WeChat, and the whole population criticize the government a lot. And also, the people suspect when we use internet, although there's censorship, the censorship is relatively. I mean, we have relative freedom of speech. So when we talk about something very sensitive, we cannot post a message in China. There's keyword control. So it means that the internet company will not allow you to post the message. The software will not allow you to post the message. But mostly for many things, I think we can discuss freely. So the government control some very sensitive parts. For example, the Cultural Revolution discussion, the Tiananmen massacre in 1989. This is a very big event in China. But as I have mentioned, actually people can find many books. In this book, Mr. Deng Xiaoping book, actually there are many details about Cultural Revolution, about massacre, and this book is freely public available in China. But we don't see public discussion. So that's quite query things, change things. So
yeah,
it's
that's super interesting, right? I mean, you can still, well,
you can read.
yeah, you can read, you can have access, but well, as you said, there's not much public discussion.
Yeah, discussion, the open discussion. I think sometimes the government want to control the open discussion, so they have this kind of fear. Yeah, but also the government, I think, is kind of open for people to read many information. So even the Cultural Revolution, the Tiananmen event. So I read a lot actually. So anyway, yeah. So that's kind of the things. When a city is locked down, usually we have some censorship about the information happens. Like Shenzhen is locked down about in March, and also there's a quite special things happens in China is the Waste of April. Waste of April is you can find this video online. It's a quite interesting video. And censored by Chinese government, but anyway, still can find many copies inside China. Yeah, and it collects many. When a whole city is shut down, the online rise of the Shanghai people, they protest, and so they collect many protest voice in this video. That video became very popular in China several months ago. I also go to every corner of the WeChat, and then people will use a different way to fight back the censorship. Okay. Anyway, but because when video you want to control it, it's actually you censorship it by technology. And sometimes you have many difficulties, so it's not always possible. And still, that kind of information will spread to many places. So that I think is a quite interesting part of the censorship part of the China. Yeah, I think I think the time is up. I better stop here.
Yeah, but I'm taking so many interesting things away, because thank you so much. This has been, I didn't really know much about China and internet, and I think this has been super interesting. I think now I have a better understanding of how Chinese society is influenced by China, right? By internet. And I think the last part you mentioned about well, access to information and how the government is involved there, I think is super interesting, super powerful. I think we definitely, I'm gonna check this video you shared, Voices of April, to understand more. And I think this is like also the power of internet, right? Even when governments want to restrain the population from getting access, we all citizens find ways to share information, right? Through videos, through social media. So I think, well, that's a really powerful message. Well, would you like to share a final idea about what you told us today?
What I do? Sorry, what is your question? What is the point?
If there's anything, if there is anything you would like to share as a final reflection from what you told us today, like what do you think perhaps the future of internet and or this Chinese society will be with internet?
I just use 1 minute to summarize the last part. Actually, because there's many internet industry company inside China now, the Chinese are able to export the product to the whole world. So currently, there are many Chinese companies, they want to make efforts to go overseas. Like my company, I actually do mass education. I want to go to UK, to go to US. So there are many Chinese companies they try to search corporations to go abroad and say, So I think if students are interested in China, Currently, at this age, is a very quite opportunities. I mean, there are many opportunities that they will need kind of talents to help the Chinese company to go abroad. There are many challenges for Chinese to go abroad, and but I think still there are many business opportunities. So this is what I currently what I'm doing now. Yeah, that's all.
Excellent. Thank you, Rick, so much. This has been super interesting. I think that honestly, I've learned so much, and I definitely can see well how internet has shaped, right, Chinese society, how all the potentiality, not always in terms of access to services and different let's say software or things that make our life easier, right? But also, like we discussed in your latest point, the power of internet to also work as a tool for democracy, even when sometimes there are some aspects that are more challenged, right?
Yeah.
And so I am super grateful because this was amazing. And so everyone who can stay in touch with Rick can find him over LinkedIn. And so you can find his company and see all the work he's doing, promoting math among kids. And that's an amazing job. So thank you very much, Rick, for your time. Thank you
my pleasure.
for everything you've shared with us. And I wish you a really good night. And thank you everyone for having been here today. And I hope you found it as interesting as I did, because this was really enlightening. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a nice rest of your day.
Yeah, have a good day. Okay. So,
bye.
Bye. See you.